What's up, everybody? Hey, everybody's gone today. It's your boy L. Ron Humperdinck, Dylan James. I know I did the thing. This is in the same week, so everybody can eat it. But I did my testimonial on Tuesday of this week, which was about what, 4 days ago or something. It's Friday, October 18th. It's 11:46, 19 p.m. I was cleaning my room all day, and there's stuff still backed up. Bunch of art, bunch of stuff. Looking around when you clean your space, and you have all this stuff, you really think about how God has blessed you. I've got so many different instruments and art and all this stuff, and you look at the skills you went through in life and what you've been through, and there's nothing like cleaning up your room or your workspace or something like that, and just really noticing all the stuff you've accumulated. You can look at it and say, "Gosh, look at all this junk." Which is true, but you go through and you think, "Gosh, I've got a lot of clothes, and look at all these books that I've read and all this stuff." And it's not a pride issue as much as what you've been through. But I throw my tags up here again. Like I said, the bottom was the personal, which is this, and they just happen to be on the same one. Ooh, what? Slow down now. Whoa, girl. There. But today's Friday, and there was parts of that testimonial, and I really appreciate everybody's feedback. It's awesome. Just to feel love like that. You got people that may not even fully agree with you, and there's a lot of people that are searching and seeking things out, answers for themselves. And the fact that they come to you and ask, "Hey, what is it that you got? How did you get what you have? Because I want peace." And it's awesome because that's what I think we're here to do, is to help one another in that way. But let me do this here. Oh, whoa, Inception. Streamception. Go, baby. I might do this first. Hold on. Just my face. I was going to say, I told you about how I was an alcoholic. And I got saved, right? October 15th. 2019 at that it's not really a concert, but it's like a get together where all local bands get together, and they at this guy's personal land. And this year it was actually like he had a record label with Ted Nugent, who I love, and he gave a shout out, and they do it for veterans. It's all sorts of cool stuff. But I had a bad time, remember, and it's the only one I ever went to. But and it wasn't their fault, but it's just me personally. But I actually had the greatest night of my life, so to speak. When you look at it, like when at the end of time, it's going to be the pivotal point of my life, because I was saved and baptized by the Holy Spirit. That doesn't mean that I was perfect, or that I haven't worked on it. I've recently been on fire lately. You talk to people in chats, even if it's like I don't mean the term professional as in like a good or bad thing, but you have a professional vibe, and then there's the stuff where it's just fun, and even in the fun ones, we'll all be talking about, we'll talk about God and faith and stuff like that. And a lot of people have been asking, "Hey, we should do a stream with just that, maybe me," and not that I'd lead it, but I'll stream it, and if people want to join. I think I got something in my mustache, but I shaved recently. I was getting old. I was pulling my hair out. Now I look like the dude from Big Lebowski. But to get back to my point, I want to talk about, I read some messages whenever I was talking to people about it, my close friends, about how serendipitous it was. I couldn't find the book in physical form. I'm sure I got it somewhere, and something had chewed on it. I think my sister's rabbit that had died. Which is weird. Her son was born, my nephew. Now I'm Uncle Elron. I mean, I was, but it's just funny. They call me Uncle Elron because there's another Dylan, spelled differently. Mine's Dillon. My brother-in-law is Dylan, with the English way, Dyllan. And so it's like one of those things that just falls in the line. It's not Dylan 1 or Dylan 2. I'll just be called Elron. I think it's a funny name, but all that from a kid. I think it's 2008 or 9, might even be 6. But I think it's not 2009 in July. I've had this account. It was just funny. And my user URL on this is D-Man is the man. It's an old first Xbox Live gamer tag ever. And I've went through a lot of them now. It's 12 ounce Jesus, and all the Gears fans will know that. But I'm rambling, it's just a Friday night, and I'm at peace. But when I was young, I was going through a lot of stuff, and like I said, I was drinking and all that stuff. And this weird thing happened. Like my mom and my dad had separated when I was young, and I was the oldest of the ones we had. It was me and then my younger sister, whom I really hated for a while. I think I was jealous of her because, like I said earlier, the relationship with the dad, our father and stuff. But I've forgiven my dad, and he's forgiven me and my mother and all that, and it's just a weight was lifted. That's why, like, when Christ says, "Forgiven, you shall be forgiven," how can you expect God to forgive you if you can't forgive someone else? And like I said, it's hatred. Somebody else has said this, but it's so true. Hatred is like, drinking poison and hoping that it kills the person you're mad at. So it consumed me. Everything was about my sister or someone else, right? And she wasn't worried about me. And most people in your life you're not worried about. But we all love each other. I tell them all the time. I look at them sometimes and say now's not the time. Not that they wouldn't receive it, but you just let God talk to you. And sometimes I'll say, my brother, my sister needs to hear, "Hey, I love you," And it's just weird to think, because you feel like they should know that whenever, in the past. And then sometimes when you really don't like them or you've had problems with them, you can't imagine saying that to them because it's just gushy and kind of embarrassing. But that's, Satan talking to you, I would say. But all that was happening, and music was my outlet. And I was self-taught. As in, like, I would look stuff up on the internet and stuff like that so I could go at my own pace. It's just like with painting or anything. You can learn more by yourself. I think you can get help, but you can learn things on your own because you can learn at your own pace. And then ask if you have a question. It's not like you have to follow a curriculum. And I think, since this is like a faith type of video I'm doing again, that you could do that with the Bible and what you read. And what's funny is, like I said, I always like the character. People talk about certain things in life when it comes to people and pros and cons, but it's weird how God will use stuff. I would listen, or we'd hear Billy Graham all the time, or here and there in the house, or even if you caught a video, where something on the news about him, because he was from North Carolina as well, Charlotte, the dairy farm and all that. And I used to get up and, in the name of God and all that stuff. And, you do your old Baptist Southern accent. And I can do it because people know, Elron, he's got the sexy Southern accent. I just think it sounds all, a little nuts. It's almost like you don't have one too, is the crazy part about accents. Everybody's made so different. And it's just no big deal to you. And then something is, simple and dumb you think as an accent, or, your mannerisms or ways you say things. And people say, "Oh, that's awesome," and you're like, "Really?" But it's it's a foothold into talking to each other about things. And I think God works the same way, because that Billy Graham stuff. I remember I used to get drunk and I would read the Bible, not mocking it, but like trying to sound like Billy Graham, and everybody would laugh, not at it, but like I'm saying, it's funny. Like, dang, that's pretty good. And my family, the ones that they were being worked on as well. We all weren't like in it to win it at the time like we are now when it comes to the war. I'm on God's side. You have to pick a general, Satan or God. It's one or the other, because everybody else gets shot in the crossfire. That's just how it's going to be. Kent one time said there was a soldier who didn't want to fight in the Civil War. He put on rebel pants and a Yankee jacket, or vice versa. And at the end of the war, he was found dead. And since he had Yankee pants and rebel jacket, he got shot dead and found bullets with rebel bullet holes in his Yankee pants and Yankee bullet holes in his rebel, jacket or whatever. So the point is, you're going to get shot up one way or the other. Not in a morbid way, spiritual warfare wise, but it's to say that you're a target based off the other side. And you might as well pick one or you're going to get blitzed by both. And people know this to be true. And I wasn't picking a side. I like the ideas of things that said, the Word of God. Jesus seems like a nice guy. I've always, believed in him, but I didn't believe on him, if that makes sense. And a lot of my Christians, brothers and sisters, or followers of the way, Jesus, will say, I know what that is. We've all been there, that lukewarm feeling, and especially when you're right before, you're not saved or called, grabbed into the family by God, because the Holy Spirit comes into you, and He's still working on you. It's like, when you get married, to Jesus. We're the bride, He's the bridegroom. You don't give, it's like giving, you walk into the house with your newlywed, and you don't give them, hey, this is the room, we can have all that, but don't go into my den. That's my man cave or whatever. Just an example, I'm not bashing a place for people to, have seclusion and solace like Superman or something, but sometimes it takes everybody a little bit to give the key to every room in the house to Jesus, or even their physical friends and family, trust-wise. And I feel like I'm still doing that to this day, but you get more and more open. And but in my heart, this stuff is true, even if you don't understand it. And it's crazy how people might look at it and say, "Oh, you were drunk. That's not a time to read the Bible." When's a time to not read the Bible? And I was being drawn towards it. And sometimes God will use humor. I've said this before. God uses humor in a lot of ways. And anything to get you intrigued. God's interested in what you're interested in, whether it's humor, whether it's the scientific part of it, or wow, that's interesting. I like the history part of it. Wow, there's accounts of Roman generals, and it talks about the armor they wore and stuff. Anything to get you drawn in, and God will do it. He did it with me. And I really like Psalms. I'm probably going to do something about it, just read it live. I'll try it. Because David was a psalmist, and he wasn't the best guy ever. He had problems with lust, I never got into the physical aspects of lust, but as far as, like I said earlier in the other video, wanting and desiring somebody, and, I need someone to complete me, and being in a hurry to find it. And he was also a musician and an artist. That was me. We actually have the same temperament as King David. If I have to take it again, because it might be different, but it's sanguine melancholic. It's the Kiersey something, whatever it is. I'll look it up, but I said, wow, that's cool. And so you start looking at people in the Bible, and you're like, oh, that's me. I wonder how he handled it. How was his walk with God? And it's cool to see the similarities. It's like, hey, you're not alone, but on that deeper, people think that he was possibly, that temperament or whatever. And so it's something you can learn by. And he got a hold of me because he made me to play music, or was using music to help me get out of depression and things. And like I said, I would go down to the basement and play. And I've told all that crap about my family, and I'm rambling and all that, but they got divorced, my mom and dad, and I was, when you're old enough to realize what they're going through, and it sucks because it doesn't involve you, but it somehow does in your mind. Satan starts playing on mind. Not, oh, did I do this? But you're old enough to figure out, well, I like them, and I also like them, and it's like watching two halves of you fight or disagree on something. And that's what's rough about a lot of stuff, or when the parent, excludes the child from seeing the other against their will, right? If your dad or mom's beating the crap out of you, I'm not saying force them to go see them, but it's good to see where you come from, because it's like when they say Jesus is God, he's of his Father. And well, really, he's in flesh, he's a man, but he withstood all that pain and agony. And the reason people say that is because he's of his Father God. Like, I'm a father, just because I'm myself and I'm a completely different person than them in the physical, I'm still my father and my mother without being either, because they made me, if that makes sense. You're a mix of both. And God chose those two to make the temperament in me the way it is. Mechanical aspects of your dad, you're the melancholic, and the sanguine part of you, just to use the technical terms of, hey, he likes to, talk to people. He really loves to talk. He likes conversation, and both of them together come to create you. And one might not like the engineering part of things, like mom. The dad, he's, a little more secluded to himself, but together it makes you. And you see the two halves of you not agreeing, and you go, you don't know this, but in your mind you're worrying about yourself conflicting within yourself, what you identify with. But my mom, they both got remarried. My mom who got remarried to my stepdad, who I love all these people now, but I had a lot of problems with him, and I think it was because we were a lot alike, my stepdad. And I'm telling you all this to say that he would go to auctions and stuff while we were here, and he would go and buy boxes of things, and some stuff would be, hey, we could sell this, and some stuff, well, that came with it, but we can do whatever with it. But you buy it in bulk. He would he bought one. I can't remember if this came in it. I think it did, because this was a World War type of era, World War II, and a lot of these journals we've got, whereas people will write to their people, it's cool, like Flags of Our Fathers type stuff, but in real life, real pen stuff. But it ended up on the top of these boxes, the book, and I'm going to show you here, like I said I would. I brought up Billy Graham, and it's weird that the Billy Graham thing, I like talking like him, and that's a thick accent like me, but the way God works is, when you're downstairs, he made me to play music, right? You're playing music downstairs in the piano, and the crazy part is, like if I wanted to, it'd be in the room, right? But what if it's too heavy? Oh, you can't get in here because of the way the room is and the hall and all that. And so my grandpa bought it. I think he brought it for free because it came from a church. And that's even weirder too, it's a church. But you see why I wanted to do a part 2 of this, to ultra elaborate. And some of it I forgot, but now I'm remembering it. But the piano, and we got it tuned and all that, but I don't even know if this was when we got it tuned. But the grandparent that got that, my mama, who's his wife, maternal, my maternal grandparent, she was the one who paid to tune it. But regardless of before or after, you'd go down the stairs, they're right there, and you boom, 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 you got my door, boom, 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 down and down. And right there at the light switch, it's over here where the pen is at, across the room. But you'd go up and down, and sometimes, I'd drink down there to myself, or you'd smoke pot or whatever you did, And then you'd say, well, and sometimes you wouldn't, but you would have music there, and you'd play every day because that's all you had. And something that came from a box of random stuff from a stepdad that went out and bought all the stuff from auctions and just happened to be in that box. And it just happened to be Billy Graham, somebody that I mentioned before with the Bible thing. I never mocked or anything, but I did the accent, and you're like, oh, that's funny, and you would read the Bible like him. It's just the way people, God will take someone's accent or anything characteristic about him that people like, and will make you act like them or do stuff like that. And that added to it. And it was on top of all this stuff. It could have been at the bottom of it at the light switch. Somebody had picked it up and moved it from a box, I guess, and put it at the light switch. Who knows if they were going to bring it up or down? Who knows? But God had strategically placed it there, or allowed it to be there. And whenever I was going to flip the light switch off one day, I see this cover, right? Make sure I don't click something over here, because it says The Secret of Happiness, and this is about the Beatitudes, what the things that Jesus said. I think there's 8 of them, but you have to forgive me. But Jesus was talking the Sermon on the Mount, what people could do, like about it blesses the man, like why would poor people be blessed, and you read about stuff like that. But I saw this, and it's literally this one, and I don't have it with me, so I had to look it up. So thank God, whoever this is. And it said The Secret of Happiness, and I thought, but of course you see this, it's his name, Billy Graham, the key to immediate and enduring happiness for you by the offer of peace author of Peace with God. I think I'd seen Peace with God maybe before or after, but the secret of happiness. And you go in your mind, I'm not happy right now. I'm looking for happiness in drugs, alcohol. Like I said, or women in the other video. Oh, I want to be in a band. It's not working. I'm playing every week at the band. It's cool, but at the end of the night, I feel empty and drained. And you see the secret of happiness. Like, what a title. And it was about the Beatitudes. And so you pick it up and you go, you know, like people would. Billy Graham has preached to, you know, all this stuff, right? Just so people can read it, they can pause it or something. Next one. The Doug's holding it down. That's funny. And I remember seeing this. Wow, 1955. See it down there? Copyright. And it's printed in 1963. There's a book from 1963 before I was even conceived of, before my family member, or I think my dad, I think he's 58. I could be wrong. My mom's 68. Before they were even, you know what I mean? Especially with the first printed, or copyright, before even my parents were made. To my mother and father who dedicated their lives and taught me the secret of happiness. And you go, that's mom, dad, you know. It's all coming together, ain't it? This is what I was talking about in the back. It says the secret of happiness. If by happiness we mean serenity, confidence, contentment, peace, joy, and soul satisfaction, then Jesus was supremely happy. And you immediately go, that's crazy, because my paradigm shifted, changed of what happy was. I thought happy just meant happy. Happy, right? Sound like Duck Dynasty, happy. But you think perfect, so to speak. You know what we mean by happy? Like, oh, I just want to be okay, or, you know, have nice things and all that. And then you're thinking, so happy has a different meaning? Like peace. God doesn't offer happiness, but in this sense, he's talking about the peace part of it. And you're like, because happiness can go away. And you think of that, and you go, wow, that makes sense. No wonder it comes and goes, like, you know, as I am now, when I was. He did not have to have an outward stimulus to make him happy. Like the stuff I was mentioning about myself. It's really hitting me at this point when I'm reading this. And I don't like to read. I really don't. I read a lot now when you do the web and stuff throughout the day, but I don't sit down and read. And so this was nuts. And God was speaking to me, and he had learned a secret that allowed him, Jesus, to live above the circumstances of life and fear of the future. He moved with calmness, certainty, and serenity through the most trying circumstances, even death. See, I knew that. I knew Jesus died and died for me. You know, even if we don't understand fully what that means, you get it, because I grew up with that. My mom and everybody, thank God, had that, you know, instilled, despite her saying, you know, at the time she wasn't saved either. But, you know, it's people can say, well, you know, it's the values, and people don't really believe that and indoctrinated. Well, I didn't commit till I was 21, so I wasn't quote unquote brainwashed. I rebelled against it, and we didn't live by it, but we knew it was there. And so that's not a good argument. And see, what was his secret, Jesus? What was his secret? He gave it to us in the Beatitudes, what I spoke of on the Mount. The Beatitudes are revolutionary, startling, deeply profound, and yet amazingly simple. And I thought, simple, that's what I need, because life is hard. If applied on a universal scale, they could transform the world in which we live. If you apply these simple formulas in your own personal life, you can never be the same. Billy Graham, right? He said that. And that's what got me. And that's why I was looking for this. I was going to say, if you could find it, but thank God I found it. But I do remember that on the very back. I just remember you can never be the same today when I was looking for it. And I just remember on the back it said you can never be the same. And you know why I remembered that? Because it immediately stuck out to me. God changes you. He changes your outlook. He doesn't change your attributes and what you like and, you know, how he communicates with you. And so that's why I tell people I'm still the same guy. I act different in ways. I pursue God in a different way, and you look at him in a different way. But look, you can never be the same. Now when I get down, when I get depressed and all this stuff, I know that there's something higher up. I have to look for the cause instead of try to feel it. When you have a headache, people will take medicine, bam, to get rid of the headache. Well, what's causing the headache? You know, are you deficient in sugar? Are you deficient in salt? You know, if you're drinking enough water, you start looking at it. That's why it's different. Can't be the same. You don't deal with your problems the same way. And I just thought that was cool. But that's the book, and I wanted, you know, to say, that I think I read the whole thing. I can't remember how many pages there were. It might say it. But anyway, you can look this up. I don't know how many pages there are, but I read it. I was like, man, this looks interesting. And the more I read it, the more it spoke to me, of course, because it's Jesus and he was speaking directly to me. And it was talking about happiness, and it changed my paradigm on things because it was talking about blessed are the poor and all, all the stuff, and the hated and all these people. And you're like, that's me. There's all the bad things in my life. It said be blessed through it. And it really hit me because I thought, I'm not doing anything with these trials in my life, but now that I've read this, I can start looking at how I react to it, how I can grow from it. And I can't remember how long it was or when I actually founded it. I think it was over the summer. It might have been July. And then it maybe even later, like August, but like I said, October 15th, that's when the Holy Spirit had been assigned to me. And so all throughout that time, God was working on me, whether I knew it or not. And I read it. I think I let my friends borrow it too. And those are the ones that eventually were, you think you're different and all that stuff. And the ones I said are different now. And I said, don't feel bad about it. I get it. I used to say that to people, yeah, we get it. You love God. Everything's so great. And I thought they were pretending that to have hope. But I wanted everybody to hear about it when I saw that. And it was crazy because the Bible was interested in all that stuff. I'm talking about in past tense whenever I was, in that state. But I was just reading it, and I was getting it. And I knew some verses here and there. But something out. And Beatitudes are in the Bible, of course. But it was a book that was separated out of it. So it wasn't intimidating. It was somebody I'd seen before and thought, oh, he's cool to listen to. Family, you'll listen to him, or you'll hear him in the background on a sermon on TV or something at certain times in the year. And so everything came together in the familiarity of it all. And you're like, okay, this is non-threatening. This is a thin book. I can read this. Hey, the back's interesting. It drew me in. It hooked me in. Jesus is a shepherd. He had his cane hooked me in with all my interests. And I just thought it was great to have that, and have that sitting on that box at that time, at that moment in my life. The piano having to be downstairs and go up and down the stairs all those times and not notice it, and then one day notice it. Right there under the light switch, so that when you look for the light switch, you look down at a yellow book. And I'm sure yellow and red is like, bam, because I'm in design now, like I said, afterwards. That is McDonald's. That's yellow and red to agitate your eyes. Wow, you want to get out of McDonald's. That's why it's red and yellow for fast food. But it works like that with a phone too. It was getting my attention. And it's nuts. I didn't have to be reached out to. And so it's really humbling to think, I'd given up on life, like I said, to the point of wanting to die. But God never gave up on me, which is really weird. Not in the bad way, but it's hard to fathom. Because we as humans, when people like me, curse God, so to speak, and blaspheme him and don't take him serious and stuff, a lot of us would hold grudges and say, fine, you do what you want. But he was still always pursuing, knocking. And I think that's all I have to say for now. Who knows? This could probably be a part 3. I love talking, apparently. But thanks, guys, for listening. I'm probably going to try to do a live stream here in a second and see how that'll work, because people have been wanting Elron's revival. I don't know what I'd call it. Psalms and chill, but God bless everybody. Peace out. And go with God, of course. So you won't regret it.